Greetings fellow film fans, thanks for tuning in. My name is Mercy and this is the Funny Pajamas YouTube channel. So now, as you no doubt know, the Loki series has come to an end on the Disney Plus on streaming service. So if you do not know already by the title of this video or by that mega huge spoiler sign that's up on the screen right now, this is a spoiler heavy review of episode 6 of the Loki series. So if you haven't watched this latest episode yet, pause this video, go check out that episode and come back, we can have a fun discussion. So now, while I'm here, just before I begin, why don't you smash that beautiful like and that beautiful red subscribe button, become a subscriber to my channel. If you haven't done so already, don't forget to hit the bell icon so that you're notified every time I post something new. So my thoughts on the Loki series have been so more or less on the positive so far. Does it maintain? Let's go ahead and see. Now the title of this episode is For All Times, Always, which happens to be the slogan for the TVA. And then we pick up directly where we left Loki and Sylvie. They've just defeated Allied. The gateway opens, the portal opens, and then they see this huge asteroid and this huge mansion on the asteroid. This mansion is, from what we learn further ahead, called the Citadel. So Sylvie and Loki, they head on out. This has been Sylvie's life goal for so many years, and they head on out and head towards the Citadel. At first Sylvie, hesitates, and she even asks Loki for his help, and he's like all supporting her. So they open the Citadel and they come in and they're greeted by Miss Minutes. Now, I for one, straight off the bat, always thought Miss Minutes was pretty much an innocent one here. I thought she was just being used by Judge Renslayer, but as we find out in this, she is not as innocent as she seems, because she seems to be working directly for the person who's called He Who Remains. So she's been in on the loop all along. Now, even in the previous episode, now that you notice it, some of the stalling tactics were initiated by Miss Minutes. So Miss Minutes ain't the little innocent little baby she, portrays herself to be. So Miss Minutes comes before them, lays it out for them and says, we can give, He Who Remains can give you everything you want. She basically tries to strike a deal with Loki and Sylvie. To Loki, she says, you want to win the battle at the Battle of New York and beat the Avengers? You can have that. You want the Infinity Gauntlet? You can have that. You want to kill Thanos by your hand? You can have that. You want to be king of Asgard? You can have that. So basically she offers him his heart's content. And to Sylvie she offers, you want a lifetime full of happy memories. You want that you were never taken away from this life, from the life you were living. You want fresh, good memories that will make you happy. You can have that. So so that you can just walk away. Now, meanwhile, Mobius. Now, Mobius, I was kind of interested to see. When the previous episode, he tells Loki, I'm going to burn down the TVA. I'm paraphrasing here. He tells he'll burn the TVA down. I was kind of interested in seeing how he would go about it, how he would, achieve the goal of taking down the TVA. And we see him, he confronts Judge Renslayer. And Judge Renslayer is at the point of when Mobius enters, she's downloading some files, and she tells Miss Minutes, these are not the files I asked for. And Miss Minutes is like, yeah, but these are the files he thinks you need. And Renslayer is like, who's he, and then Miss Minutes just disappears and Mobius enters and they confront each other. Now, straight off the bat, I thought Mobius would end up pruning Ravonna Renslayer, but that is not what happened. She turns the tables on him. Apparently Mobius ain't an athletic guy, so she has the chance to prune him, but she decides not to. Instead she withdraws, takes a satchel of what appear to be a whole lot of papers and stuff, opens a time door and just and walks out, and that's where we left. That's the last we see of Judge Renslayer, and it kind of leaves us with a lot of question marks. Meanwhile, back at the Citadel, Sylvie and Loki come face to face with He Who Remains. He Who Will Always Remain. So, I'm kind of getting like He Who Should Not Be Named vibe, Voldemort vibes sort of thing. But this is the opposite of Voldemort. Now he's like, now straight off the bat, let me tell you, there were lots of rumors. Jonathan Majors was cast to play Kang the Conqueror in the future Ant-Man Quantum movie that's coming up. So there were lots of talks of Kang being the villain, and it's better to just call him Kang the Conqueror. Now the version I got of Kang, now straight off the bat he welcomes them, like he's like quirky, a pretty over the top, not what I would have expected of Kang the Conqueror. But moving ahead, we see he invites them and tells them, come sit, let's talk, sort of. He's like, I don't know, something about this guy is just so shifty and so tricky. And he's like, he tells Loki and Sylvie, see, basically, I knew you were going to come here. I paved the path, you walked it, and I brought you here. I made sure you would come here. I knew it all along. I know everything, He sort of tells that. And then there's this scene where there's basically a huge exposition dump that we get which is being done by, Kang the Conqueror, this Jonathan Majors. He's like giving them, telling them the basic history and stuff. Meanwhile, back at the TVA, we see how Mobius is, getting the TVA people to know about the truth. Now, there was a certain pen that appeared in the very first episode of Loki. That pen had the name of a high school on it. So, when Mobius faces off with Ravonna, he shows the pen and he says, I already found out, I figured it out. We are taking down the TVA. Basically, that's what he says. So what he basically did was send Hunter B-15 to, I think 2018, the time is 2018, to that school. And as Hunter 18 goes, more Minutemen go after her to chase her, to catch her. And she's in this office, and there's this cup with a whole lot of the same pens that we saw. And just as the Minutemen come to apprehend her, the timeline version of Judge Ravonna Renslayer turns up and asks him, who are you? What are you doing in my office, And she doesn't know them. So that's how B-15 introduces, gets to talk to the other Minutemen, tell them, see, we are all variants. We had a life, that she's not the Renslayer, She's the one on the sacred timeline. We were all variants. We were taken, brainwashed, and made to work for the TVA. So that's how Mobius and Hunter B-15 are going about taking. Okay, back to Loki and Sylvie. So getting a whole history lesson on Kang gets to be where he is. Now apparently he was a scientist in the 31st century on Earth, and he was the guy who essentially discovered the multiverse. And he made contact with other versions of himself who seemed to be pretty friendly. And they kind of, they exchange technology, they help each other out. But then there are other versions of him, at least so he says. I got to tell you, I'm not sold on everything this guy tells, okay? I do not trust him fully. So he says that there were versions of him that were evil, that instead of wanting to be friendly and help out the other, versions in the universes, they wanted to conquer, to take over, to rule, So basically the violent versions of himself, they enter into a war, a huge multiversal war occurs, there's death, there's chaos. Then finally this guy, the Kang we are being presented with, he discovers Alliath at the end of the timeline, and he manages to tame Alliath. He sets up the brings everything under control so that he prunes out all the things he deems are unnecessary, and he says he brings order out of chaos. So he basically lays it down to Loki and Sylvie and gives them, you kill me, a multiverse is going to open up. Let's say a multiverse of madness, huh? So a multiverse is going to open up and all my violent and conquering versions of myself are going to come in. On the other hand, you could take over in my place. Tell the TVA, see, we are variants, but what we are doing is for the good of the, of the timeline, for the people, to bring order so that there's no chaos, there's no death, there's no destruction. You take over in my stead and be, benevolent rulers. So Loki and Sylvie are given a tough choice. Sylvie straight off wants to kill him. But Loki is like, calm down. Let's think of it. If we get rid of the dictator, what will fill the void? And Sylvie is kind of like, no, you just want the throne for yourself. You want the throne. You want the power. That's so you. And then as when two Lokis clash, we have a fight with their blades and stuff. Sylvie and Loki duke it out, and just as Sylvie is about to strike him down, Loki drops his blade, and he's like, I know what you're feeling. I've been there. I don't know how, but I know what you're feeling. You are, after all, a version of me, and that this is not going to help. He tries to talk her down, and it seems like Sylvie is relenting, and she sort of, and then we get what is pretty uncomfortable for me. We get the Loki Sylvie kiss. I gotta say, I'm not a big Loki Sylvie shipper. It kind of weirds me out. They are, after all, versions of themselves. So I know a lot of fans have been dying for the Loki Sylvie kiss, but it kind of weirds me out on a personal level. I'm sorry, but yeah, it is what it is. It is my personal thing, okay? So Loki and Sylvie kiss, but Sylvie turns the table. She's taken this little tempad, what sort of thing that Kang hands out to them originally, saying this can control. Using that, she opens a door, pushes Loki through it, a time door very similar to what the TVA people use with their tempad. Opens, pushes Loki through it, closes, and goes ahead and kills Kang. Now when she kills Kang, she's, and then eventually dooming the sacred timeline as it were. Loki is like, he's frantic, he's heartbroken, and he kind of heads off in search of Mobius. And he finds Mobius, and Mobius and Hunter B-15 are there, like, there are so many branches, there are 64 branches, what does he want, no? And Loki goes over to them and says, see, there's this guy, this really bad guy, and there's going to be lots more of him coming, we need to prepare. And then at first, it's like, Mobius is trying to calm him down, trying to reason, see, you're an analyst, right? Who I think, calm down. At first we think, okay, Mobius is being his usual self. But then we realize they have absolutely no idea who Loki is. They have no memory of Loki or what they've been through together. They have absolutely no memory of that. Then the thing pans out, and they show us where originally the 3 statues of the timekeepers, there's one single statue of a version of Kang. So now this basic, and then they end it with that, and then there's a post-credit scene which says Loki will return in season 2. Now my overall thoughts on this, I had very high hopes for Loki, okay? And they started off so damn strong. They faltered a bit on episode 3 by that was my personal opinion. I felt they faltered a bit, but they did pick up. They had so many plot points, story so interesting, so captivating, and I was waiting to see how they'd end them all. But this episode ended in such a way that it raised way more questions than it did answer any. And I was so disappointed. I don't know, I was practically bordering on rage. I was like, how could they do this to us? They could have at least answered something. And if you see most MCU properties, be it the movies or the 2 series that we've got so far, they have a beginning, story arc and an end, and then they connect to something which, when we put it in the larger time frame of the MCU, they have their place. But Loki was not like that. They had something starting off, a bit of a plot, but basically absolutely no ending. It was a lot like Loki was more like a segue between what is going to happen, what has happened and what is going to happen. Now I do believe Loki is going to, I have a feeling he's going to make an appearance in Doctor Strange 2. I felt all, it was so disappointing because I felt all the Loki series did wasn't a self-contained, completed piece of work. It was just a bridging between what has happened in the MCU. They're introducing a big bad guy, and it's just a bridge to, what's going to come further ahead with Ant-Man, Quantumania, Doctor Strange, Multiverse of Madness, and Spider-Man No. It felt like it was just like something to set it up, which kind of let me down. I wanted it to be its own self-contained thing. And when I first saw this, I was so angry. I was like, they cannot give us such a cop-out ending and simply say, Loki will return in season 2. They gave us basically no answers. So did settle down. I did feel okay. The overall experience of the Loki series was a positive. All the episodes were pretty strong except episode 3. Even then, it didn't falter very badly, but I thought all the episodes were strong. They were headed in a good way. The groundwork was laid, but the last episode just fell flat, and I was like, oh my god, this is how they're going to end it. So, color me disappointed, extremely underwhelmed, and it is not how I expected. I really wanted them to go out with a bang. Sure, it's created a bang with a whole lot of stock on the internet, but I wanted it to end strong. Like all of you who've watched know, the Loki series has been the most anticipated Disney Plus series for me personally, and it was going so strong, I would have definitely placed it above WandaVision and Falcon and Winter Soldier. But if you see my ranking right now, it's just the first 5 episodes that are keeping it in second place. This last episode really dropped it down. I placed it far below WandaVision and just Falcon and Winter Soldier. Falcon and Winter Soldier a bit on the weak side for me compared to Loki. Loki had such potential to be the best. So many plot points. I wish they could have satisfied me with a few answers. They just raised so many more questions, and I'm wondering, you just had it for the sake of a bridge. Couldn't you have made it a self-contained story? There's so much rich subject matter you could have drawn from. And all I gotta say is, I was disappointed. Let me know what you think. Hit me down in the comment section down below. Did it end strong for you? Are you satisfied with what you got? I know they gave me a great hook to go further into the MCU, but as a whole complete entity on its own, this final episode really pulled it down for me. So I gotta say, I was very disappointed in it. Almost at the verge of tears. I was so frustrated with the ending. But anyway, that's my thoughts, that's my ideas. Everything is, film and entertainment is basically subjective. What did you think? Maybe you guys loved it. Maybe you enjoyed it. I'd love to hear your thoughts, your views. Hit me down in the comment section down below. You can contact me on Twitter, simply at Mercy_D. Be sure to hit me up on Instagram at Mercy_FSD and the Funny Pajamas Facebook page, simply at funny.pajamas. I'd love to hear from you guys, and you can always check out my website, okay? Because that's at www.funny-pajamas.com. And I know I don't have to say it, pajamas with a Y. And if you want to contact me, my email simply on mercy@funny-pajamas.com. I'd love to hear from you guys. Hearing from you makes my day. And I am really interested to see what other people thought of the series. Personally, I'd love to discuss with you. So hit me down in the comment section down below. Waiting to hear from you. That's all I have for you right now. So I'm going to end here. This is Mercy signing out. Bye. Have a good one, everyone.